So, I like to consider myself a Jedi level truther. Yeah, very advanced level. So, naturally, I'm a flat earther. Haven't you heard? That's the one of the tenets of being a truther at these days, it seems, right? It's actually not even that fringe anymore in certain circles. Well, guess what? After 3 or 4 years of pretty much thinking the earth is flat, like I leaned that way. I wasn't evangelical about it like some are, but I thought the earth was flat. As of last night, I'm almost certain that it's not. And the crazy thing is, it's a if someone just simply would have come along and presented me this one simple idea, I never would have gotten into flat earth in the first place. So, I want to preface this a little bit though, because I don't think flat earthers are retarded or stupid or whatever, crazy or anything. Okay, we live in a world, we have definitely been lied to about a lot of things. And the magnitude of those lies, let's just say like you're open to anything when you come to terms with that. Not only that, but like when I say that I no longer believe the earth is flat, I'm not saying I believe everything else they tell us about space. I'm talking to just simply are we on a ball or not? Forget the spinning, forget if we're in the center of the universe or not. That stuff might or might not be true. We're just talking about the shape right now. And when you're lied to on that level, and then people come and they're like, hey, have you looked into the flat earth thing? And you're like, flat earth? Well, I guess maybe. We have been like, okay, fine. You look into it, and there's some pretty compelling arguments because, you know, it's not as crazy as you think. When the deeper you get into it, you're like, oh, okay, well, there are some weird anomalies. We maybe can see further than we should think we would be able to with modern day long lenses and stuff. Why can we see so far? Right? Not to mention, you start talking to people with the flat earth, and most people have zero understanding of what the model is itself. You know, North Pole in the center, and you can still, you know, circumnavigate a circle, right? Antarctica at the perimeter. You all know what I'm talking about. Most people don't know that model at all. So they start thinking flat earth. They're talking about going off an edge or, you know, a floating pancake in space. And so it's hard. And then most people are just not truth seekers. They're not curious. They're like anti-curious. You try telling them you're a flat earther and they're not even interested in finding out why. Okay. So then you have, you know, YouTube, for example, shadow banning flat earth. Now, mind you, it's still been there. There's still channels if you know where to look, but it is shadow banned. You know, I should mention actually that early on in this, I remember people saying, and people have always said this, that flat earth is it's a trap. It's to discredit truthers. It's a psyop for truthers. And I was always open to that. I was like, is it? Maybe. Well, then why can't anybody explain all these anomalies? And can you just go, you know, can you prove it? Can you prove that we're on a ball? And, you know, you would think that might be kind of hard, actually. Can't get into space yourself. You're depending on potentially CGI from NASA. You know, at a certain point, it's like you see debates and the people on the globe side are these science worshiping. I mean, I'm not against science, but you have to understand that it's being manipulated. You can't just blindly trust the scientific consensus on anything, especially anything controversial. So you see these debates and there's just these, you know, super thick globers. And the flat earthers are hip and cool and they understand. I mean, a lot of times the flat earther actually understands the model of the globe more than the person they're debating. That can happen all the time. So, but yeah, you know, you would look on YouTube, it'd be shadow banned. Oh, well, that must mean they're hiding it, right? And then though they do have the debunking videos, and then you watch the debunking videos, and guess what? Those debunking videos are just creating straw man arguments of the flat earth. Like, they're not even truly addressing what most flat earthers believe. So you're like, oh, look, I mean, this is what people, no, they don't understand. They're like, they're not even, well, maybe that actually is the point. Maybe the point is for people like me to actually fall into this. And so what I'm about to share, the easy proof of a globe, just a simple video like that, or that concept, I don't even know how this isn't used more. Like, I've watched probably hundreds of hours of content of flat earthers and debates and all this stuff. And they do bring up the map, but not in what I'm about to share. Not in the specifics. Like, just plain as day. Because, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is crazy. And I'm already getting shunned from people who I thought were my friends, because I'm starting to question this, which makes, immediately I'm like, wow, I've been here before with climate change, when I was shunned by all my friends. That when I started questioning climate change, that didn't go over so well for a lot of people. But, I always just, who am I? Just, is this too much to ask? Like, hey, do we have a friendship? Okay, so can that be first? And then these other things that are hard to decipher, hey, maybe we can disagree on them. Maybe some of us will flip positions, but our friendship can remain intact. I can only be your friend if I believe in climate change? I can only be your friend if I believe in flat earth? I'm on team truth. And I'm on team, like love, friendship. And it's all about, those are the priorities. Whether the earth is flat or not, I don't even really care. I just care about the truth. Whether climate change is real, I don't really care. But when it was true, I was like literally, advocating militant resistance to take down the grid, because it was going to cause near-term human extinction. Okay. So thank God that one's a lie. Now, back to the point here. I actually didn't want this to get so long, but I have to I'm just going off the cuff here. This is all happening real time for me. So let's just cut to the chase. How do I know the earth is not flat and it actually is a ball at this point? And why didn't somebody just come share this with me? Think about it. I don't need, by the way, the basic gist of it is that in the southern hemisphere, in a ball, there's converging lines of longitude. They all comes back down to a point at the bottom of the ball, obviously. And then on the flat earth, it's all spanning out from the North Pole and just getting bigger and bigger. So in the north, they're kind of the same sort of distances and that kind of thing. But once you get to the south, there's the converging lines of the globe and the continued diverging lines on the flat earth map. All right? Now, flat earthers, when people start to point out, hey, the southern hemisphere, where's your map for the southern hemisphere? Because things aren't. Flat earthers go, start talking about, well, and these trips around Antarctica that happened hundreds of years ago. The ship's captain logged way more miles than they were supposed to, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And flight routes between the continents and the south, like, oh, there isn't actually a flight there. They're lying about that. Or if there is a flight, they're somehow tapping into a jet stream to go faster than they should because they're having to cover all that extra distance required on a flat earth. And they'll talk about, forget the 24-hour sun, that whole shenanigans, all that stuff. I mean, there's just so much. And all these anomalies. Oh, the sunset and sunrise times at these bases here in Scam Arctica are this and that and the other, and they don't match, and nothing's making sense. And so it's all just crazy. Well, guess what? We don't need to go hundreds of years into the past looking at boat logs. We don't need to talk about flights. We don't need to talk about the sun and what it's not doing, and is it curving this way? Is there a 24-hour sun? Is there not? Are there two suns? Or is there a fake sun? We don't need to go to Antarctica We don't need anything like that. Forget what's happening up there. Okay? Are those longitudinal lines straight? And do they all match up in the north? Converge at the north? That is true on both models, as far as I know. Those are straight lines coming off of that. Well, guess what? All we have to do, and thank you, Jaron. Thank you, Jaron. Because guess what? This is because of you that, like, I was watching one of his latest videos going into Dave Weiss's stuff, which is how I became a flat earther. He was kind of the one that did it for me because he does these really compelling presentations and he genuinely believes it. But Jaron was going through his presentations and stuff and bringing up stuff, and there was stuff that I was like, whoa, okay, I've never seen the actual demonstration of refraction bringing something up over a curve before. Here's a demonstration. Thank you, whoever did that. Here's a guy that went and filmed a building and then progressively got back and back and back. And the building doesn't distort. There's no atmospheric stuff like going on, but like every time he goes farther back, a little bit of the bottom is more and more obscured. Like, what's happening there? Probably curve. Like, there's no really other explanation for that. I'd never seen that demonstration before, so thank you, Jaron, for pulling those together. But here's the one that, like, we don't even need any of that. Is the coordinate system correct? If you said 30 degrees south and 100 degrees east or whatever it is that a real place, physical place that can be verified? Yes. The coordinate system itself, these longitudinal, latitudinal lines, it's arbitrary, right? Sort of, in a way. But they correspond to physical places. I mean, they might be fudging something here and there to hide Area 51 or something, but for the most part, all these things match up. The coordinates work. So you get down to the freaking southern hemisphere, you don't need to go to Antarctica. Just go to Australia, go to South America, and look at one of those longitudinal lines, like two of them. Because down there, 50 degrees south or something, 40 degrees south, there should be about 100 kilometers is the distance between two of those longitudinal lines, 1 degree of longitude, I guess. 100 kilometers or something, like a drive. You can drive between two of those. On the flat Earth, it should be more than twice that distance. We don't need Antarctica. We don't need to worry about any of that. We don't need to have boats going around or planes going around Antarctica and trying to figure out. Just take that degree of longitude. It's describing a distance. I mean, there's a prescribed distance between that at a certain latitude. Does it match up, or is it twice as much? Guess what, everybody? Obviously, it always matches up in all those countries and all those little squares of longitudes, latitudes. All those little squares all match up to reality. Okay? It has to be a ball. It has to be. That's the only way that works. Unless there is some kind of crazy explanation for this. But guess what? I spent hours last night looking. I've talked to many, many people, leaders in the flat earth movement I've talked to. I've gotten blocked by some, and I've been shown videos of Steve from Space Busters going on and on about all kinds of stuff that doesn't matter. Like, why do we need to go look at those boat logs? The coordinates are right there. Go on Google Earth. He does go on Google Earth, but he's talking about this train and all. Forget about all of that. Like, this is so basic. It's truly baffling me right now how I didn't figure this out, how no one else has figured this out. Like, why isn't, I'm sure Globers would be like, duh, we've been trying to tell you, right? But have you really, have you just broken it down like that? Because I haven't personally seen that broken down just that simply. I don't even need diagrams or anything. You should understand what I'm saying. The two lines get big at the equator. They get smaller down there in the south. That's a real distance. These things are obviously used every day, these distances. All right, my battery died there for some reason, but I mean, that's the end of the story. If there's flat earthers out there that can explain how this happens, like why do the coordinates match if it's not a globe? Why does the distances not make sense if it's not a globe? Or why do they make sense? And you know, at the end of the day, it's like we all need to keep each other in line, in check, in alignment, in truth. And we can put our own spells on each other. I mean, how many truthers out there are flat earthers at this point? A lot. So it's actually like what I'm doing right now is going to, I mean, think about what's happening to Jaron. Jaron's actually being a leader. Like, that's the kind of leadership we need. People who are not afraid to go, hey, we're going to turn now. That was wrong. We should be able to do that. We're truthers. Like, we've had to do that many times. So here's another time where, hey, a bunch of us got fooled on this one. It's all right. Guess what? Yeah, we're still being lied to in a million other ways, and we have work to do. Let's do that work. But let's stop grasping at straws here. This actually never should have even picked up steam as far as I'm concerned. How did you ever get around that southern hemisphere, those longitudinal lines on actual land, and not Antarctica, but on land that people are living in and driving across every day? How have we gone years, a decade more than, doing this? I mean, for myself, only a few years, but still, as a movement of people, I don't even understand how that works.